What's up, guys? This is Showtime's Fight Forum. I'm your boy Showtime. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for following and all that good stuff. If you haven't already, follow me on social media at Showtime Sanders, where I talk all sports, football, fights, basketball, all that good stuff. Once again, thank you for tuning in. So this discussion I'm going to be doing over the next couple months will be my Mount Rushmores per division for MMA. Once again, this is all of MMA, not specifically UFC, but all of MMA. Now, with this, we're going to start off with the welterweight division. We're going to start off the welterweight division because GSP actually just did a whole bit on the welterweight division. I was like, oh, let me go ahead and do that, but not just with welterweights. Let me do this all the way up from 125. Granted, it's going to be very difficult doing 125 because that's, kind of newish. So I'm probably going to just name like 2 or 3 people. But I'm going to start off with welterweight because I think that's one of the I'm not gonna say deepest, but one of the most interesting divisions. So let me also put a disclaimer. When I do these lists, this is not me saying these are the best ever at this weight class. This is me saying these are the most influential in these weight classes. All right, so I want to put that disclaimer because some people are gonna say, "Oh, he's not that good." This, that, and the third. Well, I'm just saying that their impact was a little, better than the others. So let's start this off with 170. I think this is probably the easiest choice for me, but I have seen some people leave him out, but I don't know why. But he should be in everybody's 170-pound list, and that is Royce Gracie. Royce Gracie is easily on the Mount Rushmore of all of MMA. Doesn't matter if you do 170 or you do all the weight classes combined. He is the most important figure in MMA. The reason why is because obviously we all know how UFC got started. And if you don't know, this is the whole concept. Everybody has their own individual styles, and they started a tournament in martial arts to see who had the best style. Was it boxing? Was it karate? Was it wrestling? Was it kickboxing? And it turns out it was this little thing called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Royce Gracie was a 170 pounder. He weighed around there. And he was beating everybody. He's a 3-time UFC champion. All right. And they had actual tournament formats where everybody fought in a tournament. No weight classes, bro. Like some people didn't even have gloves. Like it was weird. But Royce Gracie came out on top 3 separate times. And I think the time that he didn't win, he got hurt or something like that. It wasn't even like he lost. But yeah, so he has to be on this list. And in reality, let's also put a disclaimer. I'm not saying that he's one of the best. If Royce Gracie was fighting at today's time, he would get beat the hell up. It would be bad. It would, like, we've already seen it when he fought Matt Hughes. When he came back, Matt Hughes beat the living hell out of him and I think broke his arm. So, I mean, that was to be expected. The game has evolved. It revolutionized it. But it started from Royce. Everybody realized we need to have a ground game. If we don't have a ground game, we're going to lose badly. So yeah, that's easily on my Mount Rushmore. Number 2 is also the easiest person to put on this list, George St Pierre. We all know George St Pierre belongs on the Mount Rushmore list. I mean, at the end of the day, he is the greatest welterweight of all time. Simple and plain. And this is why I say he influenced the game. In my opinion, I think he is the start of the well-rounded game of MMA. He had no flaws. Great stand-up, great wrestling, great jiu-jitsu. And we start to see you have to have all avenues and not be a specialist like Anderson Silva and all and like what the Mark Coleman's and people like that who are good fighters, but they had a niche. GSP didn't really have a niche, bro. He can knock you out, he can outpoint you, he can wrestle you and just dry hump you. He can also submit you. So I mean, it was that. Also, he had 12 title defenses. He's also to mention, he's also one of the main points of people using the jab so much now. GSP, he didn't revolutionize the jab, but in MMA, he was one of the first to use it heavy, like to set up all his strikes. And after GSP started using them, you start to see everybody else start to trinkle in their jabs. So like I said, GSP's impact was heavy. Like no matter how you want to look at it, man, this guy was not a wrestler, but out-wrestled wrestlers. Like he took down Josh Koscheck, and Josh Koscheck was a national champion wrestler who was 42-0 in college. Like that's ridiculous. So my third, this is where it gets a little tough, and I feel like you can add anybody you really want to put in there because I think the top 2 are obvious. You got to put those in there. If they're not on your list, I'm kind of not going to respect your list that much. But the other guys, I get if you don't put them in there. My third one is Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes, what, seven title defenses. He was 45-9. I mean, at the end of the day, he was one of the first great wrestlers in the division. And his homie was strong. And I mean, his stand up was it was okay. It's not nothing to brag about. But I mean, I think that he had a very impactful influence on in just GSP. Like I think that GSP saw going into the reigns that he's gonna have to beat Matt Hughes, which means you have to develop your wrestling and obviously get better at that. So I mean, I think Matt Hughes definitely deserves to be on the list. I mean, once again, he's one of the greatest welterweights of all time. His resume speaks for itself. And so yeah, I'll put him on that list at 3. Now 4, this is just me being me. All right. I love to ravel you up a little bit. So my 4th one, some people are gonna put like Kamaru Usman, some people are gonna put Tyron Woodley. Only reason why I'm not putting them up there because I do think they belong on like a top 5 list of greatest welterweights ever. I just don't see the impact. In reality, what did Tyron Woodley impact when it comes to MMA or that division? I don't really see it. Kamaru Usman, I mean, his story's still being written, but as of right now, I mean, I don't really know what he's necessarily writing either. He's just dominating, which is dope. You know, I guess you could still get up there for dominating. But I'll say BJ Penn. He's not a natural welterweight. He didn't even fight as many fights as these other guys at welterweight because he obviously fluctuated from light heavyweight, middleweight, welterweight to lightweight to featherweight. But the reason why I'm putting on there as far as influence is because I believe he is the key to what started super fights in MMA and also the key of why why fighters fluctuate weight classes and why they go up and why they go down and some just don't care. I think he was the starter of all that. I mean, the man fought Lyoto Machida, the 205-pound champion at light heavyweight. So, I mean, bro, like, how do you not have influence? I mean, outside the looking of the blood and the gung ho, like he's obviously, and I'm this is a spoiler, but he's obviously going to be on my 155-pound list as well. But I'm putting him on there because he was the champion at 170. He did shock the world and beat Matt Hughes. But once again, he did these super fights, man. He fought GSP twice, and the first fight was extremely close. Like, I mean, he won the first round. But then after, his cardio, because BJ don't train like that. But, it was a little interesting. But regardless, BJ Penn is so impactful that I am going to put him on 2 lists because BJ Penn was so dominant and so fearless in both weight classes. And I do believe that he had a bigger impact on UFC as a total, but also at 170 than Kamaru Usman and Tyron Woodley. So, I mean, like I said, you could say I'm wrong. I mean, sure, cool, whatever. But the reason why, like I said, is because he's a champion. He also went up and down. He was a natural 170-pounder. And when I say natural, I'm pretty sure he ate to get to 170. And I mean, the guy was ballsy, man. So like I said, I'm gonna put him on that list. You guys tell me what you think. Who's on your Mount Rushmore for 170? Obviously BJ Penn passes. I mean, we know he's fell off. His record is 16-14, which is disgustingly bad. But let's be realistic here. We know BJ in his prime is one of the greatest fighters to ever exist. So, I mean, if you don't believe that, then you just need to watch the tape from olden days, not the ones from 3 years ago and 4 years ago where he's literally ass. But thank you guys for tuning in. Tell me guys what you think. Once again, we're going to be doing this all month and next month as well. Thank you. This is Showtime. Be blessed.